AskReddit by deleted. What eventually disappeared and no one noticed. I need to know who our neighbors are. I listened to a podcast about human interaction recently and the host said that the internet slowly made it possible to live without knowing who the people are next door. It used to be that we would hang out with people in our street or attend dinners, birthdays, and whatnot. Now, everyone seems to have no need to even so much as introduce themselves. The only time we do get to know each other is if we have a complaint. CD DVD drives in laptops. I found out about this a month ago. I don't own a laptop or computer that's usable. I have a Lenovo I haven't booted up in 4 years. I was really surprised when my friends who play PC games told me that. When I didn't have Wi-Fi I'd put in my Errands Goes to Jail DVD and fall asleep watching it on the floor of my old apartment. Good times. Toys and cereal boxes. Or glow-in-the-dark lightsaber spoons for each Star Wars movie that came out. Somewhere along the way 9-5 turned into 8-5. Yeah, when I hear the song I'm like, wait, did they get paid for lunch? Or just eat at their desks? Or did they actually not work 8 straight hours? We're in the process of full-size can of Arizona teas for $99 disappearing. I'm seeing a lot of places starting to carry the smaller plastic bottles for $99 or the larger plastic bottles for more. I'm honestly surprised that they've lasted for this long at the same price. Deleted. People fainting when something unexpected happens. And people carrying smelling salts for just such an occasion. It's so 19th century. There's so many unbelievable things going on that it doesn't even faze us anymore. Those god-awful Chevy commercials with the real people, not actors. One day, I realized I hadn't seen one in a while and it was almost as if they'd never existed. Except I knew they had. Man, I hated those damn things. I believe the YouTube channel Zebra Corner single-handedly killed those ads. I don't know, I didn't notice. Reminds me of a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy quote. You know, said Arthur, it's at times like this, when I'm trapped in a Vogon airlock with the man from Beetlejuice, and about to die of asphyxiation in deep space that I really wish I'd listened to what my mother told me when I was young. Why? What did she tell you? I don't know, I didn't listen. Sub drinks. I'll forever miss you, pink sub in a glass bottle. Kinda surprised I haven't seen this one yet, but Ronald McDonald. You remember the old clown everywhere in and around McDonald's commercials and stores? Gone. Phased out when that clown scare prank trend was going around. He's still chilling on a bench at our local McDonald's. Deleted. Silly bands. Gaming consoles at McDonald's. Or in big markets. In the 90s. I lived in a small town that didn't have any big stores, but there was a bigger town an hour's drive away where we did our shopping that had those. In those stores, they had PlayStations and Nintendo 64s out for you to try out. I remember seeing Mario 64 for the first time there, and after some other kids got bored with it, I got to try it out as well. It was magic. I think the last store console I saw was PS3. And the last one I tried was probably GBA. TV bumpers. There used to be a little sequence between the show and commercials. Some of them were really interesting and creative. I think my generation remembers the wand IDs on the Disney Channel, where a Disney celeb would use a wand to make the logo. There were also bumpers that were SARS or other actual content. Edit. Yes, I watched that documentary on YouTube. It's amazing. Everyone go to Defunctland's channel and watch the one on the Disney Channel jingle. Just trust me. Don't look up spoilers. After these messages. We'll be right back. Teo Cruz. He just threw his hands up in the air and disappeared. Gum with sugar, the majority of chewing gum is sugar free. Gum's gotten minty lately. Have you noticed? Like, some of it's just too minty. It's like they're literally trying to hurt. Having many family photographs in homes. Not completely gone, but homes used to be plastered in them. The only times I really notice them is in homes of older people. Got my wife a digital photo frame for the living room. It has all our family photos rotating with the focus on vacations and adventures. We have another in our bedroom that's for our wedding and honeymoon photos. 10/10. Absolutely great investment. So many happy memories and it never fails to put a smile on her face at least once a day. 4 parties. We'll purposefully change the photo sets to include anyone who's visiting to see if they catch it. Including brand new photos we took at the current party. It's cute and low-key hilarious when they realize the photo is 5 minutes old. My favorite illegal streaming websites. Just Google online movies 2023 but replace movies with its translation in another language, preferably Eastern European. Oh, and make sure you have an ad blocker. 3D television. I wouldn't say it went away silently. They kinda never took off in the first place. Being able to buy software products etc without needing a monthly subscription for fucking everything. Edit. For all the "oh yes we noticed" comments. I get it. It wasn't an instantaneous thing. But I'm still salty about it. Thank you for your input though. Or using a website without needing to make a fucking account on every single one of them. The foil wrapper on chocolate bars. You could slide a Hershey bar out of the wrapper, eat it, then carefully insert the foil wrapper back into the sleeve to fool your brother. Someone answering the phone at businesses. Speaking of which, has anybody's menu options not recently changed? Blimps. Helium is expensive and drones can do some of their missions. Hear me out. Hydrogen. I hear it's the wave of the future. Reddit live streams. Remember that guy with a guitar in your feed? He disappeared a long time ago but you didn't even notice it. I also remember a very sweaty drummer. Did we ever stop whatever it was Connie was doing in 2012? Connie was never caught but he hasn't been heard from in almost a decade. The LRA, his militia, also decreased in size by like 99%, so it's no longer considered a real threat. Saturday morning cartoons. This was a 1-2 punch from the FCC Educational Programming Act in 1996 and the prevalence of all kids networks on cable. As a kid in the 90s with no cable, I noticed the outrage over net neutrality. Fireflies aka lightning bugs. I live rural and I used to see hundreds on a warm summer night. Now I get excited if I see just one. I mentioned it to other people who live in the same area as I do and they were just like, huh? Yeah, you're right. Edit. Lightning bugs. Also, thank you for the awards. I'm a biologist and we categorize fireflies as bioindicators. Meaning if there are a lot in an area, it really says a lot of the environmental quality of that area. They usually thrive in areas where there is less light pollution since bioluminescence is their primary mode of communication. Insert artificial light in the equation and you disrupt their mode for species interaction. Edit. Typos. Grandfather clocks. It was almost a must-have decor. My company in the 80s gave it as a gift to employees for their 10th anniversary. Privacy in your daily life. I live in fear of being randomly filmed one day doing something and going viral. Good value for price at restaurants. Restaurants have quietly reduced portion sizes since COVID without restoring them. Noodles and Company, along with many others, advertise large portions like pre-pandemic but only give to-go sizes even when dining in. All for a higher price. Shrinkflation. To hide a price increase, companies sell less product for the same price instead of raising the price on the same product. Cheek eyes. As a kid it was the place to go for a celebration bigger than McDonald's but not Chuck E. Cheese big. Then one day in the mid-2000s I looked up and they were all gone. There used to be these spicy root beer flavored gummy candies that were shaped like mugs with a foam topping, not the hard root beer barrels, and I haven't met anyone who even remembers them. So delicious. Completely paid for benefits by corporations for employees. TV Guide. Reader's Digest. Deleted. Audio cassette tape pulled out and tangled in the shrubs of a strip mall. It was the gold standard parking lot decoration of the 90s. Urban tumbleweed. Refrigerators that would last 30 years instead of 6 years. Edit. Just to piss everybody off more about this, refrigerators are mostly non-recyclable, so a fake, they just end up in a landfill. The metal outer cabinet and the plastic liner are foamed together and can't be reasonably recycled, and the compressor is full of nasty oil that's usually burned and acidic by the time the refrigerator dies. I'll never buy another LG appliance. Next time my refrigerator shits the bed, I'm going on Craigslist and finding the old diamond colored enameled Frigidaire we had when I was a kid that's probably still kicking around. Lobster tanks in grocery stores. Not that I particularly want them back, but those are nostalgic AF. I used to beg my mom for us to go buy the lobster tank when we went to the grocery store. I felt it was kind of like going to the aquarium. Poor lobsters. Girls Gone Wild. Or maybe it's just because I don't really watch Comedy Central anymore. Apparently the girls have settled down. Shame in politics. Politicians used to resign in disgrace if caught taking bribes. The secret was that they learned that the only reason they were leaving was because they chose to. Once politicians realized that it was actually incredibly hard to actually force them out of office, they changed tactics to just ignoring the issue and waiting for the news cycle to move on. Our recent First Minster in Northern Ireland was investigated as part of a scandal where a poorly built energy incentive scheme ended up losing £500 million in taxpayer money. She was accused of either being criminally negligent or actually criminal. The investigation decided it was the first option, just massively incompetent. Did she leave office? Nope. She clammed up and refused to acknowledge it and acted as if everyone was just being petty. A common pop culture, in the US, at least. Until at least the 80s, most people watched the same TV show, saw the same movies, listened to the same music, could recite the same commercial slogans or jingles, bought into the same fads. I don't know when it happened, but now we are all siloed in two highly specific subcultures. It was definitely the rise of the internet that really started to divide not just us in the US but all over into subcultures. Or at the very least when it became very noticeable that it started happening. Corporate pensions. 30 years ago, it was a standard benefit. 401ks turned out to be an excuse for corporations to junk pensions. 40 years ago, when I started in corporate America 33 years ago, the transition was in full swing. Murder hornets. They showed up, everyone went yeah that's about par for the course, then they disappeared without a trace. They actually did a good job dealing with the murder hornets, which is why you don't hear about them anymore. https://www.theverge.com/2022/8/murder-hornet-sightings-2022-Washington-State. fidget spinners. Go to any 7-Eleven or random gas station along an interstate, they still have them tucked into the lonely corner where they keep random things like kids' toys and cheap cell phone chargers. Color from the world. Everything is becoming grayscale. Look at commercial buildings and fast food buildings. McDonald's used to look fun and exciting, now they're all grey and boring. Edit. In my area, we had a fun-ass looking McDonald's by the Dallas Zoo, and now it's being renovated, for whatever reason, to look like a standard grey colored McDonald's. No fun. Medium equals IOSAP and AMP. UTM name equals IASKs and AMP. UTM content equals 2 and AMP. UTM term equals 1. I've heard modern architecture and style described as corporate soulless, and that sums it up pretty well. Acid rain. Occupy Wall Street. Payphones. Internet search results related to what I typed in. Phone books.